Hello guys, and welcome to what is now volume 5 of my weekly Forex Market Breakdown. I'm just going to start off here covering the pair that I broke down last week, which was Euro to Australian dollar. And I did highlight shorts on this pair, mainly because we sat within this consolidation range, but I'll just go on my trading view idea here. I did post this. I said in volume 4 that I was looking for price to form a new lower high in the middle of this consolidation range, and then look for a dive back into 5.8200, and then if we could successfully break below this, I was then looking for range support at 1.57500. I saw this opportunity occur here. I broke this pair down in much detail. I highlighted that I'm looking for a dive back into 1.58200, and then further still down to 5.7500. We had this beautiful setup here with this rejection of an area of interest that also coincided with an hourly Fibonacci retracement and also the 50 EMA. But if I go in and press play here, we can see that we did get the dive back into our first target at 1.58200. However, support wasn't broken. Price respected it, rallied completely up into resistance, 2 touches of resistance, break above that, 1.6 was the next key area for this pair, smashed through this, retested it, and we're now trading above 1.600. So pretty much what that means is it has invalidated my my short bias, and I'm no longer looking to short that pair, nor am I looking to long this pair. The reason being, as highlighted in the last video, I'm not looking to purchase or buy into this pair at all. I believe it's not a setup that I'm looking to do, although we have broken and closed above 1.600. I do expect a rally to 1.6200, but I'm not going to be trading based on that idea. If I was to look at heading back into a short on this pair, I would like to see one of these round numbers be tested and respected. And then I would like to see a dive back into the daily consolidation range, short-term bearish structure to be broken, and shorts could be considered from there. But I'm not going to spend too much time on this pair. I don't think a setup of that caliber is going to occur in the week ahead, so it's not a pair that I'm going to be spending my time looking at. One pair I do quickly want to cover over, though, is the pound US dollar. Now, this is a pair that I have covered on quite a lot of the volumes. It's a pair that I've enjoyed trading. I've mentioned multiple long opportunities. I've posted both on Instagram, TradingView, and YouTube, and it was all from these longs from the weekly support here, all successful ideas. And now, if we just go zoom out on the daily time frame, we have come up quite a way from where I posted these longs, and we now sit above weekly resistance. I am expecting further pound strength, possibly to push this pair up into 1.3500, but I've already entered and profited off trades on my preferred entry, and therefore I'm not looking to trade this pair long or short. But what I will do is just cover it on the weekly time frame, because I will also be leaving this trade sitting on my hands for a week, because we haven't actually closed above the resistance on the weekly time frame. We're still respecting it, although we have got this bullish structure here, bearish trend structure that was broken, and then bullish structure formed with a higher low. Price has yet to break above resistance, and therefore I'm going to be waiting to trade or reanalyze this pair till Friday's market close next week, where I can reassess, if we're sitting above resistance, I can look at potential short-term long opportunities, or even if we do respect resistance, I could even look at short-term short opportunities. But heading into some real analysis, what I do want to cover is the United States dollar to the Japanese yen. I don't actually believe I've covered this pair at all on any of the YouTube volumes. I haven't actually actively been trading this pair for a while. It just hasn't offered many opportunities for me. But looking across the charts this weekend, it looks like some potential short setups are forming. Now, on the monthly time frame, if we just zoom out, the price does look very bullish after February's close. We had a dive back into 1.07500s and even 1.05200s. We respected any form of new lows, come back up. February's candle was very strong, but we do sit and have respected 112. And this is a key psychological round number on this pair. And if I just head into the lower time frames, moving in onto the weekly, we can see that this rally up from where we rejected making new lows. We've almost consecutively been bullish each week. We come up, had a little breather in the markets, come up for 4 weeks straight, a really strong week last week, and we've come into 11200s, key monthly support. But what I do want to highlight is this previous bullish structure here. So we came up, we rallied, higher high, moved into a higher low, popped above 112, formed another higher low here, higher high, higher low. Then we consolidated 11400s. I did post short ideas from here on TradingView a while back, and this is where price did dive down and collapse. But what's interesting is that we've driven price back into this level, which also corresponds with the previously broken higher low here. So it is a strong area of interest for me personally, based on the way that I trade and analyze the markets. Moving in onto the daily time frame, I have marked this daily area of interest highlighted in the blue zone. So what happened is we came down, we dove into this support. It kind of sits around 111 spot 500s. We did break below this level. We retested it. Support usually broken forms as resistance, which it did. And this is where the strong collapse in price came from. Now, Friday's candle strongly broke above 111 500s, pinpointed off 11200s, and we still are very bullish on the daily time frame. So I'm not saying that price couldn't open and gap up in the markets and absolutely skyrocket. That's 100% a possibility on this pair. However, moving into the lower time frames, there are opportunities to short this pair if the correct confluences arise. More specifically, the hourly time frame, where this yellow zone here is a strong area of interest for me, because after we broke above 111 500, which was a daily area of interest, we dived into almost 111 800, formed it as resistance, came down, formed a higher low, made new highs, and then we almost consolidated on this zone. We had one test here, two tests, three tests, four tests, dive back, huge wick rejection of this zone, and then we drove into 11200s. Now I've highlighted this zone because if this is broken here, if price does collapse and we do break below this level, what we've done is we've broken short-term bullish trend structure. We would have broken the previous higher low on the hourly time frame, and therefore it's likely that a shift in the short-term trend is coming. So what I'll be eyeing price to do is collapse, break below this zone here. If we get that successful break, it's then watching price for a pullback where I can enter short. So maybe we do have a break below, pull back up to 111 800. If we do see some wick rejections here and a formation of a new lower high, I can then look to trade this pair back into 111 500s. If we successfully break below that, 111 400s, and even potentially down to all the way down to 11100s if we see firstly strong breaks at these round numbers here. That would be the ideal scenario for me. Another scenario that could happen with price is we maybe bounce into 111 800s, we hold a support, we have another dive at 11200s but fail to make any new highs above this candle close here. If we do that, what price has done is it's had an attempt to make new highs, it hadn't had the momentum, it formed a new lower high, and then we can look at potentially shorting this pair all the way back down into 111 500s, which would offer a better risk to reward, but I believe it's a less likely scenario and one that would be less probable, I believe, to confirm a short trade. I think what would make a successful short trade more likely and more probable is if we had to break below this support here and then a retest and then a dive down. However, that scenario hasn't occurred yet and may not occur. So what I advise you guys to do is make sure that you're following me on TradingView. Also make sure you're following me on Instagram, because if this does occur and this setup forms, I will be posting it across my social media, highlighting my targets and highlighting my entry. So make sure you go ahead and follow me on those platforms. Furthermore, I'm going to go over and dive into another pair that I haven't covered often in these market videos, and that's the euro to US dollar. One thing to note with this pair is it is one of the most popular currency pairs traded internationally, and therefore there is high volume, high liquidity in the market, which does cause a lot of, what's the word that I'm looking for, a lot of spikes either side. There's a lot of strong movements, a lot of wicks, as you can see if I was just to zoom out, especially on the weekly time frame. There's a lot of quick movement in this pair, which can be both a blessing and a curse. It means that you could have a trade hit your target within a day, or you might have a trade hit your stop loss and then move in your favor. So when trading this pair, it's good to have a very pinpoint accurate entry and a not so tight stop loss, and maybe look at targeting more, I guess more pips than you would usually, and kind of benefit and stay safe with a high momentum and volume that this pair offers. However, heading into the longer time frames, I will start on a monthly time frame because I believe this monthly setup is still valid. What we had here was this dive down from price, some consolidation here, which was pretty much a new lower high. We had the lowest point around here, which actually hit 1.0500, and then we had a huge rally. We broke above this lower high here. I personally still believe that this is a shift in a long-term trend. We came down, and what we've seen is price consolidates when it kind of enters back into this zone. We thought it was initially at 1.1400s, but instead it looks like it's around 1.13400s. I can see this support zone much more clearly on the weekly time frame, but what I do want to pinpoint and highlight on a monthly is this candle here, February's candle. We had the opportunity to close with new lows, and if so, I would have been highlighting 1.0900s as key downside targets for this pair, but instead, what we did, we came back up, price pushed it back up, and we closed the candle just south of 1.1400s. Now, if we look at the previous candles as well, this means we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wick rejections of this zone, with 3 attempts to break below it, but in fact we didn't. So to me, that suggests with that higher potential shift in the trend that, okay, maybe we are overextended to the downside, maybe there's some fundamentals which aren't supporting a stronger dollar now. Maybe there's room for price to pull back higher. If it is going lower, maybe it needs to pull back higher first, or maybe there's a complete shift in the overall trend. Moving on to the weekly, we can see this support zone a bit more clearer here. We had one dive here, come back, one wick, could have closed below it, but we didn't, we pulled back up. Another wick rejection, another one, candle opening, we come back in, wick rejection again. This candle was the lowest point out of the rest, but instead we literally came down and we didn't, I believe if we were even to zoom in very closely, yeah, see we didn't even break below on the candle, we literally sat on it perfectly, and then we had this huge strong bullish candle from there. However, we have still got that weekly key area at 1.1400, which last week showed we had the potential break above it, but instead we closed below it. So what I think price is doing is it's consolidating. What that usually means is that whichever way that we break, we're going to have a huge movement. So if we do eventually break 1.1300s, I think that we are due a very rapid slide in price. But if we can break above 1.1500s, then I think that we are due a strong bullish rally. However, I think there's opportunity to potentially trade this pair long in the upcoming week. If I just move on to the daily time frame, we can see price's movement a little bit more clearly. We can see his rejection of 1.1400s as well. 1, 2, 3, 4 wick rejections of this zone. We also sit just below the 50 EMA that acts as resistance, and we've also got bearish trend structure. Lower low, lower high, lower low, potential lower high. I'll just tap the Fibonacci of this as well. So one swing low, one swing high. So we do sit on a daily bearish Fibonacci retracement as well. So there is also bearish confluences on this pair, but I'm not looking to trade this pair south at all. I'm only looking for potential long entries. So just fine tuning my analysis. I looked a bit more closely and clearly at this pair, and we can see a very clear wick area of interest at 1.13400. We broke above, we broke below it. We formed a new lower high here. 2 wick rejections of 1.13400. Dive back down into the lows. We come back up. 1, 2, 3, 4 retracements of it as resistance, and we've dived back up. So usually what happens is when resistance is broken, we might have a retest. It usually acts as support. So what I'm looking for price to do is have some short-term bearish momentum off of the short sellers from this zone here. Dive back into 1.13400. Just have a look at this on the 4-hour time frame. So dive back into this zone here, and then hopefully consolidate again. Have some wick rejections of this zone. You know, we might have a few candles dive down, but back up, dive down, back up. Almost kind of like this, what happened here. And if so, we can then look at potentially getting into a long trade back up into 1.1400. And even let half of the trade ride higher, maybe up to 1.1500 or above. With that in mind, if we do see a decline in price and we do break below 1.13400, there's still another opportunity to long this trade. We could see a dive back into the 1.1300 zone. As I've mentioned in the higher time frames, this is a very strong support zone. So if we see a dive back into this, again, we might see some consolidation. Almost like this setup here where we broke above it, we dived down, and we had a huge explosive bullish candle. We might see something of that stature occur again. And we could look at obtaining a great risk to reward up to 1.1400. And later still, we could keep half of the trade open and look to trade it up to the highs of 1.4200s or maybe even higher to 1.1500s. We're just going to have to sit and wait on our hands and just see what happens to price when it does dive back into either of these levels. However, what might happen is price may not even dive back down. We've seen some consolidation here on the 50 EMA, and price very much so might rally from here. If it does, I'm not going to be entering long. I'm going to be sitting on my hands. It won't offer the right risk to reward that I'll be looking for, so I'm only looking for those perfect pinpoint sharpshooter entries. And that for me is a long from 1.13400 if the hourly candlesticks show signs of it rejecting that number, or if we dive back into 1.1300s, I'm then looking to long from that as well, presuming we have the lower time frame price action. With that in mind, price could very much so dive completely down, break below 1.1300, and if so, as I said, I would be expecting a decline in price, but it's not a bias or setup that I will be trading. With that in mind, guys, again, it's important to go and follow my other social medias and Instagram and TradingView, because if a long setup does occur, I will be posting it completely for free on both of those platforms. Instagram, Nick Lindley FX, and also TradingView, which I'll just go show my profile here. It's exactly the same tag, Nick Lindley FX. All my trades are posted here and on Instagram, so make sure you go follow those so you don't miss what occurs next week. Anyway, guys, hope to see you at volume 6. Also hope to see you guys follow my social media and hopefully benefit from this video and hopefully make some money off my analysis if we are correct. Anyway, guys, have a safe trading week, and thank you very much for watching.